morning, Tobago. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are Tobago Updates Book Club Corner. I am Jewel Green. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for tuning in with us. Every Wednesday, we're here with a local author, chatting with them right here from Tobago Updates in Scarborough, beautiful Scarborough, Tobago. And I won't believe who we have with us today. We have with us today the very talented Kleon Mcpherson, and he is a co-author of the book Tobago in Print, the 2021 Tobago Medal of Honor awardee, featured at the Marshall Montano Monday Tobago Jazz Festival, featured in the Caribbean Beats magazine, and featured at Antigua's Neo Soul Soothe, and the 2019 Carmichael Award recipient. Welcome, Kleon.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you for having me.
And I must say, you and I went to the same university, right?
Yes,
I don't know if we were there at the same time,
probably not the same time.
but we were there at the same university, right? And that's UWI Cave Hill. So shout out to all my Bajan crew, right? All my Bajan family and friends. Hi, how you doing? I have Kleon here for you all, right? Because he did a short film as well
Yes,
in
yes.
Barbados.
Okay.
So we're so happy and pleased to have Kleon with us today. What we want to do today is talk and get into the book. We talk about the literary arts, the love of the literary arts, the love of the written word, and we're going to be getting into some poet because he's a spoken word poet, right? And he is just super talented, as I said before. But before we do that, you know how we do it on Book Club Corner. We get into the wine. And today, we have with us some cassava wine from Joefield. Thank you, Mr. Joefield. And we do the 5 S's of wine tasting. We see the wine. So we look at the clarity of the wine. We swirl the wine. We're looking for legs, right? That's the sugar content. And then we sniff the wine. You get the aromas. And then we sip and we savor. This is a sweet wine, guys. So if you like sweet wines, check Joefield for their cassava wine. You will love it. I have to take another sip before we get into this book. And this month for October, you know, it's so many things are happening, Kleon. We have Caribbean Folklore Month.
Right.
We have Calypso History Month. And as well, we have Tobago Carnival coming up the road, right? And we're so excited. We can't get this on. We can't get enough of Tobago Carnival. We're going to get in a costume, do the juve, do the jump up, everything.
Everything, yeah.
We're taking in everything. So we
sure.
can't wait to hear what's going on. And just to pick you all, because I know she probably didn't see, Miss J Soul from earlier, she's competing in the Calypso competition for Tobago. So all the best, J Soul, when you compete. We wish you the best, all the good success, and we hope to see you on the winner's trail when we're finished, right? Because we want to take a wine to your song on the road, right? So you have a poem in this book, Tobago in Print.
Right.
And that poem is called Mr. Steel Pan.
Yeah.
And when I saw that poem, I found it very interesting, some of the things that you wrote in this poem. And you're going to read to us because all our authors read to us at Book Club Corner, right? Page 169, right?
So
I want you to read for us Mr. Steel Pan. But before you read for us, tell us what was your impetus for writing this poem? Because this is an anthology, guys. So it is literally a collection of poems from 26 authors. But you have this one in here called Mr. Steel Pan. I mean, you have other works elsewhere.
yeah.
But what was it that made you write Mr. Steel Pan and your ideas about carnival and about the art?
The thing about it, I wanted to do something that would have been impactful, would have been influential, and could probably even stand the test of time. Because most of my works usually are very layered, are very heavy. And I wanted to do something that could be suited to a younger audience. Right. So even primary school children, secondary school children could, you know, even in their literary class could read it and understand, and to get, the various history behind even Mr. Steelpan in that sense. But it's something that even the older audiences could read and listen as well and garner something from it. So it was more of something, creating something that could be utilized within the various institutions, within the various schools. Because most times my work is more layered, more heavy, more of context. So I wanted to do something that could appeal to the wider audience.
Right. And I really appreciate when we read about this poem and you see the title of the poem, Mr. Steelpan. It's very apropos for the time we're in, considering that Trinidad and Tobago is the originator of the steel pan. And we've had a little contention about who
Right.
who own the rights to be able to make steel pans, right? And as creatives, I know that's something we deal with a lot. How do we protect our work? How long can we protect our work for before people try to creep in and take it away from us, kind of thing, right? We know we don't want to be crabs in a barrel or anything like that. But when you create a thing, that's your baby.
True.
That comes from your soul. It comes from somewhere, and you need to be able to protect it. Tell me, what have you experienced in the community, in the society, just in the creative space, with your work, protecting your work? Is it something that you've had any problems with, and how do you go about protecting work?
In terms of protecting the work itself, when you look, there's always a gray area exactly in terms of poetry. Persons like back in the days used to say, you have to send it to yourself and, write this and that kind of thing. But usually what happens is that because the protection, or even with literary works, even within the space of Trinidad and Tobago, is so in its infancy, is only until something happens or something blows up to that extent that we now scrambling to see what measures could be put in place. So, that kind of cart before the horse kind of thing. And even now, there's no grounding area where, okay, this is set up for artists or spoken word artists, or even persons who are doing poetry, sorry. There's certain elements for probably calypsonians, the soca artists in relation to cotton and that, but that has its own kind of things within itself. So there's still a lot of work to be done. It would be good even if more lawyers even partake in that field, more in that realm, to see what legislation could become in place, because I think it's only until something comes up that's big or even influential to Trinidad and Tobago that we realize that the need for more legislation to protect our work, because you're already seeing it, as you said, in terms of the steel pan. And then the thing about it is, it's our culture at the end of the day. So if it affects one person, it affects all. So it's something that it's still in a work in progress in that element, because there's no hard or fast area to say, okay, this could be, if you add a song to your poetry, then you could probably put enter it into cut, or so it's always a kind of gray area, it's all kind of fishy area,
Right.
that we still need to be explored and see where we could build and work from there.
I like that because he's giving you some tips about some areas that you could get into. Entertainment law, right? Don't just head into criminal law, guys. There's entertainment law, and the creative industry needs you, because
Definitely.
as he's saying,
Yeah, because
you need
even
somebody
in
to stand up for
songwriting,
you.
there's a whole different element for even songs, because even if you sample a song, even with the rights with that, in terms of the royalties coming out, so there's a lot of
Right.
various intricacies from the writers to in terms of the songbed to so there's a lot of things that even probably even upcoming artists might be even aware of. So my thing is, even when I do my workshops, even teaching spoken word, I always try to give them the various elements of the business side as well, in terms of how to do up your quotes, how to do up your invoices as well, to know how, at the same time too, you must value yourself, but one, you can't oversell yourself and you can't sell yourself short.
Right.
So it's to find that balance between, and where that you could give the best product of yourself. Because a lot of us usually try to get caught up with the trend or what is happening now. And the thing about it, like 2 months from now, that trend goes away.
Yes.
And that's why I try to, tell my students or even myself what I do is try to create pieces that could stand the test of time and I could perform it now. A decade from now, I could still perform it. And that is something that could last. And you realize that even in music now, where that even dancehall or calypso or soca, you realize that even the old school music from before still stands the test of time. And
Yes,
even
classics.
exactly,
Yes,
and
yes.
persons are even sampling those songs now. So there must be a reason for that, right?
That's
So
so true.
you look at the different elements where that you want to create a product, you want to create something that is very influential, is very beneficial. Yeah, it's good to, the Hardy Wine and Jam is good to have that kind of groove, but it's also good even within doing that, that you could see if you could get a message out of it.
Right.
Because most of my content, I always try to do something light. The audience, because the thing about it now, there's a lot of individuals do heavy pieces, and which is really good. The pieces are heavy, but usually the audience tend to not revisit that after putting in a kind of certain emotional
Right.
space.
It's true.
Compared to you do something light, and I tend, even if I do something light, you're still learning something from it, even if by laughing or whatever. So
Yes, I understand what you're saying. You want longevity in your work. You want
definitely,
your work to be able to be used after a season, right?
definitely.
So you don't want the carnival season. Guys, you hear what he's saying? Don't let the carnival season be the only time that your music, your books, your poems can be used. Make sure there's longevity in it, right? Make sure you're looking at themes. Make sure you're looking at the lifespan of the topic that you're talking about, and even any beats that you're using, right? And the way that you're arranging. And the thing about music, even books, you can come back and have a second or third edition because you've done some massaging of the
Definitely.
text, right? And you've made some changes. So listen, some very helpful tips today. Some very insightful information. And we're getting into Mr. Steelpan. Take it away, Mr. McPherson.
All right. Oh, Mr. Steelpan, your evolution could not have been stranger than your initial manifestation as an empty biscuit container. You were crafted and molded by African hands, observed prematurely accompanying tambu bamboo bands. I knew some of your founding fathers, Ellie Manette and Winston Spree, and at the spectacle known as Carnival, you are displayed in all your glee. No one could ever attest that your transition was not profound, from a simple percussion instrument to a stylistic concave oil drum. Several of your octaves emulate the acclaimed piano, and your harmonious songs can be heard emanating from your birthplace of Trinidad and Tobago. Your extensive tonal range creates a distinctive aura, which can only be experienced through a steel orchestra. At your event identified as Panorama, an epic Spartan battle can be revealed, where your warriors are uniformly attired, with mallets in hand behind chrome shields. Globally, your existence can be noted as legendary for being the greatest acoustic instrument invented in the 20th century.
I tell you, guys, this conjures up some memories, some visions, of panorama, right? Being in the savannah, waiting for, because we used to sit down outside and tailgate, right? We ain't buying tickets to go inside. It's too expensive.
Right.
So we tailgating outside with drinks and somebody truck and a few eats and stuff, and we wait. And the pans come out and they practice outside their
Outside, yeah.
field. So you hear what they're going to
To
do.
play, exactly.
It just is such a vibe. And I went to for it was it Heritage, that Plymouth had their oh gosh, folklore and something else they did with the plays and stuff. But during that whole time, there was pan as
Pan
well.
playing, right.
Let me tell you, I went with my friends, right? And I was like, listen, guys, they're going to do the pan now. No more talking.
No more talking.
You know the thing, right? He finished his sentence. No more talking, right?
definitely.
We got to hear every beat, every sound, every tonal quality, how they start the crescendo, right? And then they give you the diminutive. Listen, the pan sweet, guys. Do you play pan at school? Anybody there learning pan? And you could go on as adults and play. Let me tell you, these pieces that you are writing, because you have something else to read us, right?
Yeah.
So this Mr. Steel Pan, let me just ask you, do you play pan?
Yeah, well, yeah, I used to play pan.
You used to where? At school?
No, I would the Banner Redemption song session. Yeah, RBC.
Oh,
Yeah. So I used
let
to
me.
play with him.
Pan is a very sweet instrument. Let me ask you what you think about this. Do you feel that we, as the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, have done enough to protect what we have created?
Um, Not necessarily. I mean, more could be done. You realize that what's going on globally right now. Uh, so it wouldn't be suffice just to be having probably an annual festival. Because even now, all over the world, Carnival is done, and even where Panorama is concerned, you realize that even internationally, even the diaspora now, they actually focus on Pan more. There's Pan in schools in that regard. So, definitely something that we could look at, something that we could nurture and see, because you could ask yourself, even in the Jamaican space where you see you have a lot of sprinters, you have a lot of persons coming from Jamaica and Jamaica is performing very well in athletics, is
Yes.
because they have a well structured element there.
There's investment and support.
Exactly,
Yes.
and I think that's the main thing about it in terms of having whatever institutions, whether it be government or private, seeing the value of Pan, seeing where it could take us. Because I mean, Pan has been used in various movies. Different elements could be used in party. So it's not to say that
Yes.
Pan is only for Panorama. It could be used within the everyday of life. Even as how we have the, Tobago update show or whatever, Pan could be used musically, for the introduction or something. So
Yes.
there's a lot of different elements that Pan could be utilized for. So I'm not seeing it just, or persons seeing it as just for annual basis. And the thing about it, sometimes not only institutions but the psyche of the players as well, because there are probably some players that think that is mostly around carnival time. They play. I mean, you have your usual core stage side, but usually it doesn't have as much persons as obviously during carnival time. So that's something to look at, where that more investing could be done. But definitely, compared to how it was to now, I've been seeing some strides being made even within the steel pan. Because I think even for the Tobago Carnival, I think on the Friday, I think there's the pan and powder. So there's some acknowledgement being paid to the steel pan for sure. So there has been some steps being
Yes.
towards
And as
that.
you said, it's only when we blow up and we get big, so to speak, that's when we start to say, oh Lord, somebody gonna come and take this from me. Let me try and, shore it up. But guys, Tobago Carnival is coming up. Get your costumes, join your bands, right? If it's Juve you're playing, get yourself ready. Take your vitamins. Get yourself sorted out. We're going on a quick break. We're here with Kleon Mcpherson, Tobago Imprint, guys. I'll tell you where to get it when you come back. Check us in a few minutes.
Wait, I don't even have suit and thing for this wedding. Why getting them thing?
Go look put my right over there.
Alright, thanks.
The Port Mall, where the varieties are large from your favorite stores, from restaurants to salons and from clothing stores to jewelry stores, located at Sanctus Hill, Scarborough, Tobago. Telephone number is 868-334-6589.
Wow. I didn't expect to see you here. Look good.
Thanks. It's all because of you and Port Mall. But here now I'm going to have with you. You want to join me?
Yeah, that's okay.
Alright.
Beat the rush and come on down to the Port Mall.
Mamai Lakai Home Services. We specialize in cleaning of carpets and rugs, mattresses, living room and dining room sets, vehicle detailing, cleaning and sanitizing of homes and commercial spaces. We also do landscaping and tree cutting, pressure and power washing, floor care, fumigating and air purifying. You can also call us for professional painting services, babysitting and adult sitting. Call us now 333-4430 at Mamai Lakai Home Services. We take cleaning to another level.
Right now, Tobagonians are just currying down to Bon Accord. right in Stobie Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, half-inch and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction, we have it right here. And to get your quotation, it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
Welcome back, guys. We're here with Kleon Mcpherson on Tobago Updates Book Club Corner, and we're here in beautiful Scarborough talking about Pan. It's Caribbean Folklore Month. It's also Calypso History Month, and we're heading into Tobago Carnival, and we are going to be reading a really special piece for you. But before we get into that, right? We didn't do our cheers. We must do our cheers, right? And we have to do the eye contact. I can't tell them on air what that is for, right? All the grown-ups know what that is about. Okay, guys? And if you don't know, ask somebody who knows. That's all I have to say. But, Kleon, how did you know that you wanted to be a poet? I mean, when did it come to you, right?
Actually, it didn't really come to me. I didn't even know that that was part of my calling. What happened, I think I was probably away studying. I came back to Tobago, I think just, vacation period. And a friend of mine, Jana Moses, she had her Mood Writers event.
Okay. This is in Trinidad or Tobago?
Tobago actually.
Right.
And then I was just actually assisting, helping out, and, probably had something that I written down. It had all those poems, because I actually thought when I saw them, I just, thought it was for a bunch of squares now, like a man like me, in that space is not my kind of thing.
Suave and sleek and thing. Yeah, that's not for you.
I did something, and then I performed it at the Mood Writers event, and, based on the reaction I got from, the audience, I was like, probably onto something, and then from there, it propelled to going down in Trinidad to perform, and then, the rest is history from there.
I like that. I like the idea that, platforms are giving us, even individuals who may not think they're into that kind of thing, right? These platforms give us the ability to explore aspects of ourselves in that creative space and figure out what we're about, whether we're poets, whether we're performers, whether we're songwriters, and we need more of those platforms. We do have one of those platforms called the Next Chapter Open Mic, and we are trying to provide that. That is through the Writers Guild. Right. So just putting a plug out for that. We have that coming up the end of the month, and that is one of the platforms we want to make sure it's very informal, right? You walk off the street and perform. You need not have any formal training. What I say, no experience needed, right? This is one of those things. We want to make sure that people feel really comfortable to just explore whether this is yours, whether this is for you, and to hone your skills, right? True. We need that space to be able to hone your skills. I mean, if you can't cut your teeth on something, how will you become great?
And you may discover even some raw talent that coming out as well. Because even when compared to from when I started to now, I've developed as an artist in general. So it's where that eventually, even as a poet, it would become a time where that you would have nearly exhausted most topics, or nearly all topics in that regard. I always try to do things that, or topics that, out of the box. Some persons would do the absentee father thing, or even when they do the domestic violence from a woman's side. But, I've took domestic violence from the man's side to show that kind of scenario as well now. So I always try to, teach my students that, always think probably outside the box. Even competition-wise, where's the same theme. Look at where, from your perspective, how it could be different. How can you shape the narrative into something different, or even to something interesting? Because sometimes you are provided with topics that, usually might be heavy. To unpack certain things might be as easy as it is. So how
Yes.
can you make that to the best of your ability interesting? So
But that's the job of the artist, isn't it?
definitely.
That's the job of the artist, guys. Y'all are tasked with bringing things to us in society, unveiling, unboxing, revealing topics, even from different aspects, as you're saying, domestic violence, looking at it from the perpetrators, as we would call it, point of view and perspective, because you want to make sure that you are the clear and unvarnished lens by which society can look at topics, issues, and all of these things. So I don't want you all to only stick to, and you're hearing this from Kleon himself, right? Don't just stick to the run-of-the-mill topics. And as a matter of fact, you will run out of material eventually,
Yeah,
right?
so that's why even now I've been exploring in terms of the musicality. So you would have seen, various videos or performances with myself and friends, so even with that music side and a distinctive song. So don't be complacent in terms of where you are. Always try to develop, always try to evolve from, where you are in that sense. Because sometimes when you get complacent or sometimes when you because as been a lot of interviews, they ask me how do you write or what do you garner inspiration from for writing, and I always say that I don't really garner any inspiration from writing, because if you have a formula to write, then all the material will sound the same.
Right.
So you always try to think outside the box, just garner that inspiration from wherever might be seen down, and something comes to you. And I think why I've been able to been in the industry for so long is that in terms of my unique and distinctive song and the various topics as well that I do.
Yeah.
So it's different. The man on the street could understand and apply. It doesn't need to be a certain level for academia and for certain big persons. A normal
Right.
person on the street could relate, but within that now, it's still there's some layered content as well.
I like that idea. Guys, we're going to be letting Kleon take us into his last poem. I'm going to get comfortable. I don't know about you. I have my drink in my hand. I have a nice comfy cushion here, and Mr. Kleon is going to take us into this piece before we head out.
Yeah, just get a little taste. I won't do the whole thing. It's entitled Bikini Beads and Feathers. Guess what? It's that time of the year. Not decorated coated eggs, long-haired fluffy mammals, and bonnets neatly fastened with ribbons to little youngsters here. Not colorful flamed rockets and emblematic draped ornaments evocative of exfoliation from dreadful colonial care. Not even utile carols, obese white-bearded mortals and succulent sweltered hugs alongside portions of sorrel and ginger beer. It's time for pure revelry, embellished with scantily clad provoking partitions gyrating in the tropical pre-Lenten air. The survey says, yes, you guessed it, Tobago Carnival is here. So
We love that. Yes, we love it. Cheers. We love that. The excitement. Tobago Carnival is here. You know it. You know it, guys. When you said the exfoliation of colonial care, I mean, come on. The imagery, guys.
Yeah,
what's
so
what's going on?
Right, so basically I was just touching on the various elements what happened throughout the year. So in that was relating to independence. So
Yes.
I talked about the white-bearded mortals, which obviously we're talking about Christmas, so it was just to give that imagery of what happens throughout the year, but we're dealing with carnival at this point in time.
Yes.
So nothing else matters than the carnival.
Yeah, so you gave them a kind of year-round review, finishing at the carnival.
Finishing at the carnival, yeah.
And are you going to be jumping with any band this year?
I am too sure. My knees, the knees.
You're too old, your knees hurting you?
No, I ain't too old. I mean, I could go down, but it's to come up it might be the problem.
Stay up then, stay up, don't go down, stay up.
Yeah, there might be the problem, so that is the only thing.
We're here with Kleon Mcpherson, and thank you guys for sticking with us. Tobago Imprint, he is one of the co-authors of this beautiful anthology. Get this at Manasseh Enterprises in Calder Hall. It's going to be at Blue Edition in Trinidad and Tunapuna, and you can also get it on Amazon. Guys, this is a beautiful book. right? To just have on your library a nice coffee table book, as well as to give to guests as they come and go in Tobago as you move through the space. Keep it in your handbag, keep it in your suitcase, keep it on you to read as you travel. We want to thank you for viewing. Thank you for sticking with us. This is Book Club Corner. I am Jewel Green, and cheers to you as we turn over to J Soul.